And we're live in 2 minutes.
Oh, we're live right now.
We're live right now.
All right. Hello, Facebook friends. We have had some technical difficulties getting the stream going. I'm not exactly sure what happened with it, but it looks like we're going now.
It's called technology, Phil.
Pulling out my phone, seeing if it, and I can see my face on the YouTubes, so I know we're good. So,
scary.
Let's go ahead and get started. I hope you have stuck with us trying to get things going. I don't even know how late we are. We are starting 12 minutes late, but let me introduce to you. You know, I'm Phil. This is not little Phil, but this is Tim Perkins. Tim Perkins is a pastor from Lequire, Oklahoma, and I wanted him just to share a little bit about himself. You know, give us 2-3 minutes, Phil, Tim, and tell us a little bit about you.
2 or 3 minutes. You're not asking the impossible, are you? My name's Tim. I'm from Oklahoma. I'm not a native Oklahoma. I was born in South Dakota, moved to Oklahoma when I was around 8 years old, traveled around a lot, and I'm actually kind of going full circle. I am living and pastoring in a community that I actually went to grade school and junior high in, moved back there, reconnecting with a lot of friends. A very small rural community, kind of different than where I'm at in Connecticut, Phil. We, in a 5-mile demographic survey, we found 123 people. And here in about a 5-mile circle, you'll find 123,000 people.
There's a good chance.
But pastoring the rural community has always been something in my heart. I totally love it, enjoy it, would not want to be doing anything other than that. It is a lot different than the larger city areas, but still a challenge at best.
That's great. That's great. So, for those of you, Tim's come up. He's helping us with a Christmas tree lighting that's happening in Wethersfield. It's called Holiday on Main. If you haven't planned on going, we had a great time last year. We're doing a photo booth there. We did it last year, had over 60 people come through, and Tim's like, I think we could double that. And I'm like, I don't know, Tim. That's a lot of people coming through.
I'd really like to see triple, but I always plan big, think big.
But so Tim is on board with that, and so we're so glad he's here. So we're doing some Christmas stuff, and so for those of you that are following us and maybe saw us on Facebook as well, we got our Facebook question of the day, and we're going to get into some more serious spiritual stuff in just a minute, but just kind of for fun, our question,
Serious?
Tim.
Serious?
I mean, not like super serious.
You
but
didn't tell me that.
But our Facebook question of the day is, what was your most ambitious pre-Christmas project ever? Like, if, you know, when you're getting ready, I mean, I'll tell you one of our first Christmases. We were living in Crum, Texas, and they had a brand new parsonage that they had built there with a brand new metal roof. And Kim is like, you know what I want this year? We have a house. I want us to do it up big. Let's put lights on the entire house. And I'm sure you've been up on a steep metal roof before.
It doesn't have to be steep, Phil.
And I strung lights all over that roof, and I don't know how I didn't just slide right off of that roof. And so that was definitely a year that I remember. No more roofs across the top of the house. I'll do it around the gutters, but not across the top.
I understand that one. I don't think I've really been an aggressive Christmas person. My idea of being aggressive for Christmas is to at least get the Christmas tree out of the box the day after Thanksgiving.
All right.
House decorations, it's always been a stretch for me, if you pardon the pun. But yes, we have. But probably the most aggressive I got at one Christmas was buying the Christmas presents. And one year, for the kid's mom, I wanted to do something different. And I had purchased a ring at a jewelry store she was working at without her knowing it.
Hey.
And brought it home. And I've seen these shows where it's the mystery clue where you go to one place and it says go here, and you know, we went to the oven, you're getting hot, went to the freezer, you're getting cold, and it ended up going back to the back side of the tree where there was an envelope that had the ring in it, and the kids were in on this too.
Nice.
Which made it, but it took a lot of planning and hiding because she couldn't find it, and we had to keep her in a different room, distracted while we put the clues in each one. There's like 7 different clues, and we were video camera all of it, and she's like, I can't believe you're doing this. But it took a lot of work, a lot of planning, but the payoff was fantastic.
That's good. Yeah, I love Christmas time. So for Tim, in order to help him out, he flew in on Tuesday. I ordered up a blizzard. And
thank you very much for that. In Oklahoma, we don't get snow like this ever.
He flew into Boston. So those of you that are here in Connecticut with me, I mean, we got several inches, but up in Massachusetts, I mean, they were talking about foot of snow, and so that was good. Have you ever had like a really good white Christmas?
Yes, we did, and of all places, it was in southwest Arkansas, just north of Texarkana. We had one Christmas. It snowed hard and stuck around for about a week, and then about 3-4 years later, while we were living in Texarkana, my kids came in from Virginia. My son came up from Oklahoma. My daughter was already there. And it started snowing one night. And for us, we had like 4 inches of snow.
Yeah.
That was fantastic. It covered the ground, the cars, the dogs, all of that. And it was beautiful. But, down there, it's here today and it's gone tomorrow.
Yeah.
And that's the kind of snow that I like. And you've managed to leave this one now for 3 days.
This is still here. It'll be here for a while, it looks like.
Well, how disappointing.
Well, I want to encourage you to come and meet with Tim. He's going to be helping take photographs tonight at downtown at Old Weathersfield. We're going to be out in front of the museum there. Everything's going to be going on. There'll be the lighting. The fire department will have pictures of Santa. I know all the businesses will be open up. So I want to encourage you to come down. I know a lot of you are used to come and grabbing our Hope Coffee when we do stuff. We don't do Hope Coffee downtown because there are a lot of other coffee shops, and we want to encourage you to support the local businesses that are going on. But it's going to be a real neat opportunity, and we've been working real hard to get things set up. I'm going to bundle up more this year. Last year I wore one set of socks. This year I'm doubling or tripling up my socks. Did you bring enough socks, Tim?
I'll get socks. Walmart, dollar store, all of that is like my safe haven.
That's good. That's good. So, as a pastor, what I think about when I get ready for Christmas time, and I was joking with our executive director. He had said today he's preaching for the whole month of December at one of our local churches where a pastor is going to be out. He's going to be preaching there, and was just posting online, "Hey, I'm preaching there, doing my sermon prep today." And I said, "Well, hey, it's December. You should preach about the birth of Jesus. I did that once, and it went over really well." So I know that you have to prepare yourself when you get ready for Christmas time, or your sermons at Christmas time for preaching about the birth of Jesus. What are some things that you do to prepare yourself for kind of the Christmas season as a pastor?
Number one, for myself personally, I have to make sure I don't get caught up in the commercialism. I look around, and we're losing. I don't think we've lost, but we are truly losing the meaning of what Christmas is. It's a long holiday. The kids are out of school. We deck the halls literally, the rooftops, the yards, the cars, anything that's not moving. We ooh and we awe at the Christmas lights. We get so caught up in the purchasing of gifts, and we forget what it's about. And literally the first thing that I do is I go back and read Luke chapter 2. I preached this last Sunday on family and the importance of it, and made a comment without even thinking about it that Mary and Joseph, on their trip from Nazareth to Jerusalem, it was the first family vacation recorded in the Bible there in the New Testament, and it was a kind of a pun and not intended as that. But I go back and read Luke chapter 2, and I know this sounds real spiritual, but your heart has to be ready for Christmas. So I will do that, and then my goal at Christmas in whatever I'm preaching for that season, and I will do series on Christmas, but is to bring us back to what the heart of Christmas is. The gifts are nice, the parties are nice, the meals are nice, the decorations are nice, everybody being a little sweeter is very nice. Kids acting a little bit better, that's always a plus. But we ought to be doing that all year long. Christmas is not just a one-time event, however it is as we celebrate it, but it is to try and bring people back. Remember, this is what it's about. Don't get caught up in everything there is going on around you, but keep Christ in Christmas.
So one of our big things, one of the things we try to do here on Stretch is we're trying to do that balance of how do we balance our our faith, what we believe? How do we balance what's going on in the culture so that we can relevantly speak to people? And it seems like at Christmas time, more than any other time of the year, we have kind of that coming together of those two events where we're a little bit closer to everybody else around us. How do you leverage the Christmas season in order to, not just talk about the birth of Jesus, but you and I both come from a perspective. The important part is when we get to the Easter of it, we get to the cross, we get to the resurrection. How do you leverage Christmas season in order to have a better gospel presentation?
You were supposed to give me a list of questions, weren't you?
know.
Because this is completely off the cuff, and
I know
you're hearing this question for the first time, and so am I. I gotta tell you, Phil. No one has ever asked me that question, and I've never had it put to me that way, and it makes total sense. How do you leverage God? So I love Christmas in that aspect because it's always how do you celebrate Christmas? What's Christmas to you? What does Christmas mean? And when you moved to Easter, one year in Little Rock, we were there for a youth conference, and they had a band that was playing. It was a very well-known band, and it was very loud, and I have delicate ears. So I decided that I would go walk around, which wasn't the safest thing to do, downtown Little Rock, where the homeless were at, where it was kind of wild. But went down there, and I asked people just a simple question: what's Easter to you? Because you read these surveys, what's Easter, and I talked to every age group, and literally every age group, economic. I talked to a homeless guy on the street, guy that was riding his bike across country and just happened to stop in Little Rock, and hearing the answers: what's Christmas, or what is Easter to you? And the variety of answers, some of them was just your standard Christian answer. Well, of course, it's resurrection of Jesus Christ, or death, resurrection of Jesus Christ. And then there was some of them, it's just another day. Yeah. The Easter Bunny, like that. And when you talk about Christmas, what's Christmas? Christmas is Santa Claus, Frosty, those things. So I can see a bridge to gap between, and what I look at is Christmas. The leverage that I use is you got to start somewhere, and you can't have Easter without Christmas. And if you have Christmas, it's going to lead to Easter. For a gospel presentation, that's the beginning. Yeah. That's the beginning. I don't know if that answered your question or not, but
I just know, when Tim and I hang out, I know he's got that deep passion to letting people know about God. We were at Mitchell's the other day, and we were having some spiritual conversations, and the lady next to us was leaning in and kind of listening to what was going on, and Tim's like, well, when I noticed her leaning in, I started talking louder because I know that wherever we go, you want to make sure that people are hearing that gospel message in some way, even if it's just overhearing it, planting that seed, and eventually going. And so I know a lot of us, I know, our churches will have more people coming and visiting at Christmas time than any other time. And I think that we would be remiss as ministers if we didn't make sure those people that are coming are not just, like you said, hearing a fluffy story about snow and things like that, but hearing about that,
in the rural community really that I'm in, okay, I'm not going to have a mega church. We're not going to have 300 people one Sunday. Number one, we couldn't support 300 people. We stretch at 100. Yeah. And I have my usual Sunday crowd. I know who is going to be there. And a lot of Sundays, I know I'm preaching to people that are already believers. Yeah. But I know also, starting a few weeks before Thanksgiving, we start having visitors that come in. We have our community dinner that's there, and I am never going to miss an opportunity to tell someone about Jesus. And I had a fellow one time make a comment or question, well, do you just add the gospel in there somewhere? And Phil, as pastors, the gospel is never something we tag on to a sermon. Yeah. Folks, the gospel is the sermon. The heart of being a believer is a personal relationship with Jesus Christ. That's what it's all about. And what we need to do is we need to add our stories. We need to add our points. We need to add our exegesis to that gospel message.
Right. It's not the gospel that's added to the story.
That's exactly right. And we have done that as pastors.
Yeah.
We have done that as pastors, as preachers, proclaimers, exegetors, whatever you want to say. We get so caught up in Scripture, we forget, we just say, oh yeah, and by the way, if you're not a believer, we want you to admit, believe, confess. It's that easy. And the reality of it is the gospel message needs to be there and everything built around it. And Christmas, Easter, that's what it needs to be. We need to build around that birth of Jesus Christ, because that birth of Jesus Christ is the birth of the gospel. That birth of Jesus Christ is the birth of a new beginning of a personal relationship with God. I'm so glad I don't have to go slay a lamb. I'm so glad I don't have to go kill a goat. I'm so glad I don't have to go and butcher an ox, a 2,000-pound animal. By the way, I did hit a pig a couple months ago and slaughtered that thing all over the highway, tore my car up, but they're unclean animals and we can't offer them. So
That's right.
Sorry about that little rant.
No. I love that. Like I said, we have to, as a people, be able to make sure that when we're having those intersections with people,
Yes.
when people are having those questions, and we believe that Jesus is truly the answer, and we don't make that public to people, we're doing a disservice to what Jesus has called us to. We're called to be witnesses, and that means we have to testify. We have to tell people this is what's going on.
But Phil, when we go out somewhere, and tonight we'll be taking pictures, and if you come out to the picture booth, which I hope you do, and you can come and hear my accent. They say I have an accent. I don't know what they're talking about. Don't know what y'all are talking about.
I know. He wore his overalls last time.
I'm not wearing my overalls this time. I thought about bringing my Carhartts because they're warm.
Oh, they would be warm.
But I'd have to have a suitcase alone for them. But when Phil and I or anybody we're out, I like to move towards spiritual conversations. Yeah. Because I want people to hear. People don't just come up and say, "Hey, are you a Christian? Are you a believer? Are you?" They don't do that, and you used to be able. There was a time when that might happen, yeah. But now I believe that our conversation needs to be an outflow of what we are on the inside, yeah. And it would be real easy for me to back home to talk about cows, baling hay, feeding, building my house and like that. But, building a house, I love telling people I'm building a house on a rock. And that rock is Jesus Christ, absolutely. But I'm literally building on a rock. When we started building our house, we found out that our 1 acre is just about all rock. And you only have to dig down. Well, you don't even have to dig down. They just kind of poke out of the ground. But I like telling people I'm building on the rock, and it's, oh, you live next to a rock quarry or something like that. No, I'm building on the physical rock, but I'm also building on a rock foundation of Jesus Christ.
That's great. So just want to encourage you, just want to take a break here for just a second. If you're watching this, maybe you're watching it live, maybe you're watching it on a recording, want to encourage you to find our YouTube channel that you're on, and there should be a little YouTube button that says subscribe. Click that subscribe button, and next to it there's a little bell. If you click that bell for notifications, anytime we're doing a live stream, it will come on and it will remind you, hey, there's a live stream that's about to start up, and hopefully next week and all the weeks after that, we're not going to have our technical glitches. I don't know what it was. We tried starting the stream up 10 different times, and I don't know what the magical thing was that caused it to start this time.
Let me throw something out at you if you're getting ready to finish. Something that's been going through my head, and Phil was really struggling with this, and I'm sitting here drinking my coffee, eating a donut hole, because I know nothing about technology as far as that goes, and it just reminds me how hard we try and force Christmas.
Yeah.
How hard we try and make Christmas happen. And here we're at technology, and we've put technology in Christmas with the light shows that are outside our house and things that we do. And folks, you can't force Christmas. Christmas happens. Matter of fact, Christmas has already happened. And what we need to do is allow God to move into our lives, our hearts, through that personal relationship with His Son, Jesus Christ. Allow Christmas to come into your life. And Phil, I'm watching him. I mean, this guy is pushing buttons, moving screens, doing this. And actually, Phil, I was pretty impressed because you really looked like you knew what you were doing. And then all at once, his wife came out and said, well, it says you're going to be live in 2 minutes. And then she said, no, you're live now. And when you just relax, it just happens. So this Christmas, from southern part of the United States, let me encourage you to do this. Just let Christmas happen. It's not about the decorations, the gifts, the parties, the parades, uh, the programs at school and at church. It's just about you taking a moment to be quiet, be still, and know that I am God. And just take a breath and remember about those shepherds in the field keeping watch over their flock by night. They were just minding their own business when an angel made a proclamation to them. And it literally changed the world. This Christmas, just take a moment. Just take a moment and let Christmas happen in your life.
That's great. I just want to encourage you. Just kind of want to lift you up. It's been great having Tim. I mean, last couple times my voice is raw by the end of this thing, but I haven't had to say a word, Tim. I don't know if anybody's ever told you that before. That
maybe once or twice.
Carry a conversation in a time or two. So that's been a blessing. But I want to encourage you guys to pray for Tim, pray for his church that's going on, because I know that they're going to be doing a lot of their Christmas stuff going on. I know they have their Thanksgiving community meal and things like that. And I'm just so blessed to hear what God is doing there in Lequire, and the fact that there are people in Oklahoma that are encouraged by what God is doing up here. And we have been truly blessed. And if you don't have a place to worship this holiday season, a place where you can come and just hear a little bit about the birth of Jesus, and then to hear that more important story. I think back to, not all of the Gospels, when we talk the Gospels, tell a birth story of Jesus.
Right.
They don't all do that. And I like how John, at the beginning of the Gospel of John, he doesn't really tell a birth story per se, but he tells a beautiful story. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. And John, rather than telling this miraculous birth story, which is great, and there's so many great things about it, he too was all about that. You know what? The story is great about the birth of Jesus, but what's more important is that in the beginning was the Word, and he was with God, and he was God. That Jesus was God made flesh. I mean, that was the prophecy in Isaiah, is that Emmanuel, God with us, would be with us. And John didn't want to focus on the stories. We like to focus on the camels and the donkeys and all that sort of stuff. John's like, look, I just want to focus on one thing. I want to focus on God in the flesh. Emmanuel, Jesus is here with us. I mean, later down, the Word became flesh and dwelt among us. And what a great thing for us to celebrate this Christmas season. All the other stuff, and I know there's people on all kinds of sides of stuff. I mean, all the decorations, you see our stuff is behind us. There's a few nutcrackers here. Tim will tell you about at some point in time.
There's under 100.
We've got stuff all over the place, and I love celebrating. When we talked about our Facebook question, what's our most ambitious pre-Christmas preparation we had ever done? Whether it's a surprise or like you were talking about, or if it was maybe a traveling trip to go see family or something. I know for us one year we did the year that I nearly killed myself on the roof. We actually did the double Christmas tree, because we were going all out. This house had a big bay window in the front, and Kim's like, we're putting a tree in that bay window, and so we had the tree in the living room, which is our family tree with all the family stuff on it. But I have Kim has a great aunt and uncle that every year would buy us a set of fancy, from Neiman Marcus, fancy Christmas ornaments, and it was great, but they were delicate, and we kept the boxes because they fit in perfectly, and we took every single one of those and decorated this tree in the front bay window, and it was spark. It was one of those, you walk past it and light shone down from heaven and angels would sing, oh, and we're like, look at that tree, and no one was allowed to touch it, but it was beautiful. That was ambitious. I'm all about that, but when push comes to shove, you had to be where John is. The Word became flesh and dwelt among us. I wrote a Christmas story in honor of my grandfather, and it was a fictional story about him meeting Santa Claus way back in the 40s when my dad was born. And in that story, we talked about how my grandfather was a pastor, and the Santa Claus character was saying, we're trying to do the same thing. Originally, Saint Nicholas, what he was trying to do was point people to Jesus. That was his goal. I mean, that was his plan, his purpose was to point people to Jesus. And he was in the story talking to my grandfather saying, we're doing the same thing. We're trying to point people to Jesus. He said, but you were more blessed because people only look to me once a year to point them to Jesus, but you get to point them to Jesus every single day of the year. And that's always been a passion. Are we pointing people to Jesus every day? I mean, we're going to go down and we're going to take pictures and have a good time, and we may not have a gospel conversation with every person, but because we wear the name of Christ on our lives and on our shirt, and we're going to have the church stuff down there, we're preaching a gospel presentation just on the way we love people, we care for people, the way we respect them, the way we embrace them, and all the things that we do. There is that. I mean, we learned last year. We took 60 photos, and people sent back messages after we sent them. We had one lady that was like, my photo was out of focus. I wasn't happy with it, and it was just. I was like, even the quality of the pictures we take reflects who Jesus is. So if somebody has to wait in a line too long, they're like, why did Jesus make me wait in line? Or if you cut somebody's head off in a picture, why did Jesus cut the head off of my picture? Whether we like it or not, because we're coming in the name of Christ, everything we do. And so when we're told everything we do, we should do for the glory of God, that means even taking our photos we do for the glory of God. We do whatever we do. It's why we don't like starting late with our podcast, because we're doing this for the glory of God. I don't want somebody to say, why aren't you as professional as the guy that's streaming a video game over there? It's like, one, I'm not a teenager. I'm still learning. I'm too old, all right? I have to trick the computer into believing that I'm 20, all right? And but everything we do, we have to do to the quality that the world will see we respect Jesus. Because if we just do it half-heartedly, then people will say, well, you treat your car better than that. You treat, you treat your house better than that. Why don't you treat Jesus that well? And so we have to do it to the best of our ability.
Glory to God.
Yeah. Well, Tim, I'm so glad that you were here, and I hope that some of you hung around for our video. Please stay and watch it. Some other technical stuff. Last week, you couldn't watch the video immediately after we finished because somebody, and I'm not going to name names, somebody didn't actually stop the stream, and so it streamed for 8 hours after. I left the house. The camera was off, so it wasn't filming anything, but YouTube didn't know that we were finished streaming, so it just waited and waited and waited, and then 8 hours later I came home, and YouTube is still like, it's still live. I'm like, we're not live. I've been out of the house. And so this time I'm going to intentionally try to stop it, get everything done. YouTube does whatever it does.
Last week you couldn't start or stop it. This week you couldn't start it.
I mean, that was probably YouTube being mad at me. Like,
I can't wait to see what next week is.
Remember last week when you made me sit around for 8 hours? And But when we close it down, YouTube does whatever processing it has to do, and then it will repost it on the site. So please like it, share it, subscribe, helps us a bunch, and click that little bell. So we're not going to overload you with stuff. We may do one of these live things twice a week, and then we'll post the sermon from Sunday. And those will be the only time that little bell will ring on your phone, but it'll ring on your phone, and it will say, hey, Centerpoint Community Church is doing something. Now, you're going to have to create an account, that you can't just jump on there. They're going to say, hey, give us an email address, all right? But you can click the things. They're not going to spam you and stuff, but it'll give you an opportunity to see what God's doing. And hopefully here in the future we'll be able to continue to give you good content and link you to other people that will help encourage you in your faith and your walk, all right? And then we're going to try to get Tim to do something like this down in Oklahoma. He was telling me he's got plans of getting lots of pastors down in Oklahoma in order to help encourage other churches so that we can do that. And so I wanted him to be a part of this to see, this is what we can do, maybe see what can be done.
Yeah, I'll let you come up there or down there and set it up. I might be in big trouble.
I'll be there. All right. Well, we look forward to seeing you. I hope to see you all Sunday. We're still at Soundbridge. Things are going great there. I really look forward to seeing your presence and visit us tonight. We'll take your photo and get you.
Tell us you saw us on YouTube this morning.
That's right.
Or sometime today.
And go on to Facebook and answer our Facebook question of the day. And so we
I'd be encouraged to hear some of the answers. They heard ours. Let's hear some of theirs now.
Right. And maybe a picture, like if you actually did that gaudy Christmas tree, give us a picture of it. Because there's nothing better. I'm sure my wife will post a picture. Your wife took a picture of my dogs dressed up in their Christmas outfit. So I mean, there's got to be something. So share with us.
Well, right? I would be really remiss if I did not say this as we depart. Merry Christmas to all of you.
Merry Christmas to y'all. God bless you.